Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's analysis session. Last week was a really eventful week in trading. So we are going to be looking at different pairs and looking at what they did last week. To be honest, I can't even really remember what we went through last week. Okay, we didn't have a session last week. So yeah, that's why I'm like, where did we say and what did we say was going to do? But we didn't have that session last week. But during the course of the week, we had a lot of movements because we had FOMC minutes that was released on Wednesday, and the Fed chairman, they announced that they would raise the interest rates again, and they're sticking beside 0.75 basis point. And then we had NFP on Friday, which is non-farm payroll. So I asked you guys on the Telegram chat if you want to learn. I gave options. We actually did a poll, so let me see. So if you want to learn how to trade, how to scale in positions, how to pick the best pairs, or how to read candlesticks. So right now is a tie between how to trade NFP and how to scale in positions. So I'm going to do both all together. And then we'll do another video exclusively, maybe next week, for how to pick the best pairs, because that's also very important. Then candlesticks. I have about it. 2 candlesticks or 3 candlesticks videos on YouTube. But if you want a more in-depth one, you guys can let me know. But let's get into it. Let us first look at the DXY. Let's look at where price stopped last week and what it is currently doing. So during the course of the week, we had this movement up, and then before price closed on Friday, we had a drop during NFP. This was NFP reaction to the dollar. So let's just get into it. So you know that NFP is non-farm payroll. And just to give it a summary, I'm not going to do an in-depth class on NFP. I just want to show you how it reacts on the charts and just give a summary. If you want an in-depth class on fundamental analysis, you can book a fundamental analysis session with me. And yeah, the link is, in the description on YouTube. Because fundamental analysis is very I wanted to do a course on it, like do videos and record videos, but it's hard because some people might understand, some might not understand. So I want to make it a one-on-one. So if I'm teaching you fundamental analysis, I want to make sure that you are understanding it. So that's why it's in sessions now. So I go in depth and in teaching all the economic indicators. So NFP is an economic indicator, just like you have your unemployment rate, your job openings reports, and everything. It is an economic indicator. Same thing as CPI, same thing with interest rates, but it's just that the gravity of one is better than the other. And during the basics of fundamentals, you learn that what really moves price is supply and demand, that moves currency. And then what determines, supply and demand is the people and everything. And with that information, the central bank governors will know whether to increase interest rates or not. So the central banks, we know that they control the monetary policy in an economy. So non-farm payroll is the report of all the jobs that are in the economy, jobs that were added to the labor market in the previous month. So we have this release every first Friday of the month, and NFP simply shows the jobs that were added, excluding the farming industry, So that's what NFP is. And then whenever we have that release, it always causes a high volatility. And because so many things are really shaky right now with the economy, excuse me, prices are just moving, things are very volatile, right? And on Wednesday, we just had the news with Powell that pushed the DXY up, and then on Friday we had NFP that pushed it down. Okay, so with interest rates, you guys already know, because we've talked about interest rates a lot here, and the video is on YouTube about interest rates and how it moves price and all. So they are still raising interest rates, which means it's bullish for the dollar. So now when we had this news on Friday, how did we know that the DXY was going to drop? And how did we know that everything pegged to it was going to pop? Because gold popped, it shot up, GU went up as well, and a few others, and then anything that was USD came down. First of all, NFP is a US-based indicator. So if you're not trading anything related to USD, it doesn't really concern that economy. Even though USD is a major, is a major currency, right? But this is the US, what's happening in the US, that's why it's really affecting the dollar. So the thing with NFP is that jobs are being added. The US market thrives on people like being employed. So when you are being employed, you have money to spend and there's money circulating. But when there are so many people employed, and like, I mean, so many people have money, some have invested the money, the economy is doing well, their investments are doing well, they won't need the jobs again. So they would, leave their jobs for better things. And things are just going fine, but that can even also cause inflation because there's so much spending and spending and spending, which is what we've seen that is happening. All right, so right now, I've mentioned it several times that the concern of the Fed right now is to reduce inflation drastically, because we had COVID, the pandemic, the war, and we have elections coming up in the US. So it's like one thing after another that is just causing like inflation to continue to be on the rise. So they just want to do everything to reduce spending in the economy. So when people have more jobs, it shows that people are getting paid and then people will spend. So now NFP, before I talk about that NFP now, why the dollar would always increase and why it's still strong is because of that interest rate that we talked about. Anytime they raise interest rates, it means that they are telling people, like, they are making things tighter in the economy, so the stocks will go down and then the currency will go up, right? So, but when we have jobs in the economy, the stocks are representations of the companies, right? They are the shares of a company. So when you have jobs, that means that companies are running well. You have people that are attending to people. Remember in COVID, when we didn't have people going to work and people were being laid off and everything, during COVID era, which is like almost over, people were being laid off and all. It affected the stocks of the company. So stocks went down, everything went down virtually. So what it means is that when we have more jobs, it means that those companies they have more people to do business and they have more people to work, they have more employees, they are able to pay people. So for them to even be able to employ people, that means that, business is somehow going well. So that was what caused the, stock markets to shoot up for a while. And then you have the DXY. So let me go back to the DXY actually. Yeah, you have the DXY coming down as at that point. So how would you have played this? How would you have known on the charts? Like, you don't actually need fundamentals to tell you that the dollar was going to go down. First of all, this entire trend, technical analysis, was like a weak momentum, and you can see that I have my fib there. We're already at 61.8, and we are around a resistance area where we had rejection, and then it's at a trend line area, 4-hour trend line, where it could bounce off of, and then around here it created all this exhaustion. And even when it came down, right, we still had some form of exhaustion. If I drop down to lower time frames, you'll be able to see more candlesticks that formed that showed that this wasn't going up anyway. So we had like this even breakup structure around here, and you added a correction before the drop. So technicals will tell you what is happening if you know how to read it correctly. If you know how to read it, that's for DXY, right? There was no way I could be bullish on DXY when I already saw all that information. Okay, and I also mentioned in our group chat that if the dollar should fall today, it's just for today. That means it's reacting to NFP. Do you understand? It's reacting to NFP. The overall direction in fundamental analysis, the one that has the more power to push price and have like a dominant effect on price is interest rates. And then we have CPI coming out next week, which is another one to watch relating to interest rates. So that would be like the dominant thing that would push price. But NFP happened for Friday, and all of these things that are happening right now with price, if I want to look at it with technical analysis, we are at this zone. So I'm not even going to I'm going to allow price to finish what it was doing on Friday, because it ended aggressively. So we might drop down to this 4-hour zone around here, or even stop at this support. That's for DXY. Then for gold, yeah, but did everybody understand what I said about NFP and all that? Did you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, okay, great. That reminds me, I wanted to read what I sent to the Telegram explaining what NFP was, because I know I said something about bullish USD. So hold on, sorry. Okay. I said that NFP data means that you know, that is looking at the job, so it's only looking at how strong or weak the labor market is. So they added 200, they added like 100 and something thousand jobs. And it was higher than I expected. So that's good for the job market. It's good for the labor market. But what's good for the labor market is not good for the currency. So yeah, I think I've explained all that. So let's go into the charts quickly. So with gold, I had all this structure for buys. I've been watching this buy on gold for, and it's not even done, but I'll just leave it alone for 2 weeks. And when we spotted like a pattern on it, and I've not really been trading gold. As you guys know, I'm just taking my time with some of these pairs. So, but I just wanted to see that it was going to play out. And then my final call was that if it got to my 30-minute zone here, this is an order block that I drew on 30 minutes. If I look way back, right? If we got there, I was going to start looking for a buy. So, and then it got here, and I could see that the momentum was still pushing down. right? I couldn't start looking for a buy there, but by the time we came down here and I saw the confluence around this area, I saw the confluence around here aligning with support, and then we had this break of, minor break of structure and a retest that told me that, okay, we could be pushing up, and my TP was like, it was going to come to this previous, area where we pushed down from and we never got a retest. So, but we broke that area, retested it as support. And then during NFP, so I was literally watching this as it played out. And, I saw a lot of traders setting traps. Sorry, I'm chewing some. Sorry. So I saw a lot of traders setting sell orders, setting buy orders, setting buy stops, all of those things. And you don't have to blow your account because you're trying to predict the news. Nobody knows the data that will come out until it comes out. Do you understand? You can position yourself well. So that's why, like, fundamentals is not one to be guessing what will happen. If your technicals don't tell you, that means it doesn't align. For technicals, we already see this double bottom here at support after this broke. So understanding that news is coming and double bottom, when you are looking at it with liquidity, means liquidity will be grabbed. That's like, it just aligns that high impact news is coming. There is a liquidity void here that needs to be filled. And that liquidity video is still on YouTube, so it's very valuable. So we had like a push down immediately. Immediately it was time for the news, and then we had like all this solid move up. In fact, I was looking at this area for price to come down. So once I got my alerts around here, now I'm just watching for it to react and come back down, because come back down to this area actually. But we don't trade without confirmation. So once I get like my confluence, I already have a few things working here, which is the weekly level, the negative 61.8, and then that entire resistance in this area. So, but we can see that the bullish momentum is really strong, right? We can have a pullback. We can have a pullback to this area before pushing up. Before going up. So I'll be watching out for that. Since we're already at this weekly level, we're not just going to push past. Yeah. So I'll wait for confirmation on of this break of structure around here before actually taking any sell on this. That's for gold. And then I'll look at USD card. I think I was also following when NFP happened. And for USD card too, I was looking for buys at a zone, right? But because I was aware that news was coming, I was not so quick to enter the buy. That was after Estelle finished. Okay, sorry, my network. Oh God. So I think this is the last pair I'll look at because of this network. But can you guys hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Can hear you, but it's just breaking.
We'll find a permanent solution to this because I don't even know what else to do. All right. So, excuse me, with USD card, when we had the FOMC meeting come out, it pushed up, right? So I was looking at, because this is an area of confluence for me, I saw a resistance that aligned with the demand zone. So I was watching out if price was going to buy around this area and respect that resistance as support. And this is why you don't do anything without confirmation. I want to switch to a lower time frame now, but I don't want to think. So we had support and that fib level there that it hits the second take profit. But because I was aware that there was a high impact coming and this was not giving me so much confidence as to exhaustion and momentum, the momentum was still very much bearish. And I was just like, okay, so if we break upwards, like if we respect it upwards, then it would show an indication that this is a buy. So, but instead we broke downwards, we tested that zone and kept pushing down, which aligned with the news. So, but we already had this sell after that huge buy. I think on Thursday afternoon or so, we had this very minor very minor structure retest of that trend line, which is it's not necessarily a trend line, but it's like a heads and shoulder neckline. Yeah. So we had that push down with USD CAD. And yeah, on social media, I was seeing people saying like, oh, they got stopped out with NFP, they blew their accounts, they did all of that. You don't have to. This is literally where NFP started. Like, you know that when news wants to come out, price will take out liquidity. So what's the closest liquidity close to you? Was literally this trend line liquidity around here, right? And it's a retest of a zone. So you have to pay attention to what your chart is telling you. You don't have to be nervous. You don't have to be overthinking it. You don't have to just be anxious about it. Just pay attention. If you don't want to know what's happening with the news, then don't trade during that period. This entire move literally happened before the news was released, and that's like a whole okay, so sorry. Yeah, we're about to end the call. So I was saying like that's a whole 100 pips that could have cost. It's not only during the news that you would make money. You can make money any day as long as you know what you are doing and you have the skill. You don't have to always rush to trade the news. It's not so important. Fine, you had this like in 5 minutes, you had drops and everything. But the thing is that it will still go back. Look at gold that dropped on Wednesday. On Friday, it went back up. More amounts of pips. So yeah, so that's it, guys. For this week, I'm going to be looking at I'm still looking at USD CAD. I'm still looking at USD CAD. Same with USD that I had. We are waiting for price to pull back. If I pull all the way back, because we are currently at this support level. So UCAD keeps breaking this support. There will be a day that it will break it completely and entirely. So we'll keep seeing, we're still inside this consolidation zone. So on Monday, when price opens, I just want to see what it does because we closed aggressively on Friday. So just to make it continue. Then, yeah, that's it. And this was another great guy. So wait for a pullback on EJ to continue this buy. So that's it for tonight, guys. I'm going to share my thoughts on the pairs that I'm looking at with the students group. And then if you're taking the course, we are going to be having our call by tomorrow. Tomorrow is the first Sunday of the month. So we'll do that by tomorrow. I'm going to text you the time. I'm going to text you the time that we can do the call. So you guys, do you have any questions?
No, ma.
Okay. All right, so have a great night and have a blessed day.
Yes, ma'am. Good night, ma'am.